And today we're going to take a look at, yep, this one is really hard. And we're looking at the idea of giving up resentments and yeah, how challenging that can be. So the passage we're looking at in the Bible is one where it talks about in the story of Abram, where darkness descends and the sun disappears. And we've talked about that a bit, looking at this Serianum over the past couple of weeks. A lot of that darkness is when love is no longer central, when charity, when service, when it sort of goes to the edge and pretty much all we are about ourselves. And it's not necessarily that we leave religion. I mean, a lot of religious perspectives can actually eventually degrade into that, where it becomes all about our group or our chosenness, or aren't we fortunate that we have the truth and no one else does. I mean, we've seen that played out in horrendous ways, over the years. And so it's just important for us to take a minute to be clear. Yep, this is a really hard one. And when we get into those resentments, whether it's individual or at a church level or corporate level, any sort of thing, or political level for that matter, it's important for us to look at. So this is what the passage said that was interesting, talking about "and darkness occurred." This is from the book Secrets of Heaven, 1860, number 1860. When hatred displaces charity, the darkness is so deep that we lose any awareness at all of the presence of evil. Still less do we see that the evil is bad enough to send us to hell. When people hate, they sense a certain pleasure and a certain energy in their hatred. And that's the line I really want to look at. So when we really kind of indulge in our hatred, we really kind of indulge in our resentment for other people or for other groups, what happens is that creates its own energy and pleasure. That's significant, because here's the hard part. It feels good. Feeling really resentful, really fired up, really angry, really wanting to take someone out. It feels really good. It clearly has a pleasure, and that pleasure has an energy. That energy is a pleasure, however you want to look at it. And that's really a dangerous place to be. And you sort of think of like a mob almost, that there's a mob psychology there that can just run with stuff in just nutty ways. Like, how the heck does this happen? How the heck do rational people do this? Well, this is why, because evil can reach a certain point where it actually has its own pleasure and its own energy. And then the passage goes on to say the problem is that pleasure and that energy then will lead us to justify everything, because it feels so good. That good feeling coming out of that, which is crazy to say, that good feeling, that real pleasure, that real energy around resentment, it then will contaminate how we think, and we'll start thinking in just crazy ways, just crazy ways. So we have to be so careful about the media that we consume. If you are consuming media that is constantly feeding into that, I'd say, danger Will Robinson. Just be careful of that, because the problem isn't that it feels bad. The problem is that it feels good, but it will blind us, and we'll no longer be able to see other people for who they really are. All we will do is we'll just see people for the labels that we choose to put on them. And those evils start with "I'm good and you're bad." Oh boy, like that is so dangerous. And as Christians, we need to constantly push against that. I think that's why you look at Jesus. I mean, Jesus, in different parts of the story, served every single group of society, even the groups that were the most difficult in the story, the Romans and the Pharisees. There's stories in the Bible where he clearly was serving that group. He was serving from people that were the highest of the high to the lowest of the low, with no differentiator there. That is incredibly significant and worthy of our attention. This reminds me of a quote I heard from the famous monk Thomas Keating. And Thomas Keating was wonderful, did a lot with contemplative prayer. Plus, the guy was just a stitch. He was just really funny. And he was talking about the 12-step tradition: Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Al-Anon, Nar-Anon, etc. And he said, one of the 12 steps is where we ask God for a willingness to remove. We have to ask God to remove these faults, these character flaws. Asking for the willingness to do that. And it's just kind of interesting. And he said with a big smile, and I loved this line. He said, "Why do we need to do that?" And he said, "Because we love our faults. Because we love them. Of course, we got to pray for the willingness to get rid of them because we love them. It's the last thing we would want to do would be to give up that resentment. And one of the hardest ones to give up, and this is courtesy of my dear friend Locke Brown, one of the hardest resentments to give up is a justified resentment. When we really feel justified in in resenting, when in other words, when somebody really has done something that is not good to us, it's so easy to justify all the resentment, all the anger, all the hatred, and to actually gain energy, as it says again, energy and pleasure from that. We have to be careful there. Now that doesn't, of course, mean that we embrace people who've hurt us. No, that's not it at all. Boundaries are incredibly significant, and some people just need to be kept at arm's length. Plain and simple. I think that's clearly what we need to do. But we don't need to carry resentment with that. We just need to carry like, yep, I'm going to love you, but it's going to be from a distance. And that's a much healthier place to be. So friends, the trick for today is, say a prayer for your enemy, just, and whoever your enemy, quote unquote, is, and really be super cautious. If you're finding yourself resentful and you just start to pick up on like, yeah, I'm feeling a little pleasure around that resentment. I'm feeling a little energy around that resentment. And the place I notice it most is when I'm sharing negative stories about other people. That's where, oh yeah, I have to watch it because I can feel energized by that. And my energy can feed a negative energy in someone else. And before you know it, we're off to the races. Not a good place to be. So let's do a service to the world by doing a little work today on pushing away from all that. All right, friends. Hope that makes a lot of sense. And what we're going to do now we're going to shift gears. And as we shift gears, what we do here at New Church Live is we take a breath and we try to come back to our true selves, the self that is outside of all the worries, all the concerns, all the anxieties that we're carrying into our day. And we just come to peace for a little bit and get into a wonderful, blissful time of just gentle contemplation here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ring my trusty prayer bell and ask you to just listen to it until it stops ringing. Then when it stops ringing, then we'll go into a little meditation from the Old Testament, a little prayer, and a little blessing. We'll say hi to folks on social media. All right. So you ready to join me, friends? Let's all get a big breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's say a little cheery hello to folks. And again, I hope we're getting close to the weekend, aren't we? Which is sure fun. All right, let's give a little hello here to folks. All right, Sherry, good morning to you. And Martha, good morning to you, my dear friend. Hope you two are doing well out there in the world. Let's flip over to here. A little cheery hello over here. Okay. Uh, Tori, good morning, family, and good morning to you, Tori. Hope you're doing well. Gabriella, good morning to you. I hope you're doing well. Uh, Mandy says, "Thank you, Chuck. You are welcome." It's kind of a fascinating one. Like I love the idea. I love the idea, Mandy. Right? That we actually can fall in love with evil. It's so easy to kind of think of evil as like the sweaty tooth madman stuff way off on the periphery, and we'll be able to spot it really easily. In fact, is no, because like some stuff that's not good for us is actually feels incredibly, incredibly, incredibly good. And another comment here from Gabriella. Oh, I do agree about keeping boundaries and yet keep loving intentions towards those who may be helpful towards you or others. Loving kindness meditation is all about that. That's beautifully said. And I love your phrase there. Keep a loving intention towards those who may be hurtful toward you. And that intentionality. I mean, I had a funeral last week. I have another memorial service this weekend. And so much of memorial services is celebrating that idea of intention and what's the intention we bring to life? What's the intention we bring to other people? How does that all look, etc.? Which is just kind of an interesting thing. So, friends, I'm going to say I wish you all the very best. I wish you a beautiful day, and we will see you again tomorrow for our last 10 minutes of morning calm this week. God bless. Take care. Bye bye.